Hello students, in this video I would like to offer you some recruiting tips if you are searching for an internship or job in investment banking, also known as IB. By saying IB, I'm actually referring to IBD, which is the investment banking division. There are other functions such as sales and trading, equity research, wealth management within an investment bank. I'm going to assume that you have taken a finance class and have done your homework as the industry continues to evolve. First of all, why investment banking? It's important to examine your motivation for going into investment banking as a career. Try to reflect upon why you are passionate about the work, why you find the work enjoyable, what experience, skills, and knowledge has prepared you to be successful in this role. This information can help you craft your story, which is your 1 or 2 minute response to tell me about yourself or walk me through your resume question in networking and interviews. Let's look at a typical job description for an IBD analyst. An IBD career makes sense if you have excellent PowerPoint and Excel skills, strong attention to detail, and outstanding relationship building skills, as you are possibly going to deal with difficult people in extreme situations. And you better have high energy and a positive attitude because you are going to work in a fast-paced and demanding environment. Your hours per week is normally 70 to 100. Try to evaluate yourself as objectively and correctly as possible to see if you're a good fit. So how to do your homework? You want to make a list of firms you are interested in. Try to understand, first of all, the industry the firms specialized in. There are normally industry or coverage groups within an investment bank, typically TMT, which is technology, media, and telecommunications, and FIG, which is financial institutions, and healthcare, industrial, infrastructure, real estate, etc. Different offices would have different focus. New York typically covers everything, and San Francisco covers technology and healthcare. In LA, they were focusing on media, entertainment, and real estate. In Chicago, mostly industrials. Houston, basically oil and gas. Second, you want to also understand the type of transactions they work on. There are also product groups within an investment bank, such as M&A, restructuring, leverage finance, equity capital markets, debt capital markets. So you can do research on those websites, both Investopedia, Wall Street Oasis, mergers and acquisitions. There is a metric used to divide investment banks among themselves. The distinction is normally their deal size. So Bulge brackets is the term used to describe huge banks. The deals they involve in are normally many billions of dollars. Bulge brackets normally offer wide spanning services and also span across different coverage groups. These are just examples. Middle brackets are usually a little bit more specialized than bulge brackets, but less specialized than boutiques. As their name directly suggests, they are somewhat in the middle of this type of banks. So their deal size is often around 50 to 500 million and up. Also, corporate finance department in the big four accounting firms may fall into this category. And there are other banks such as Wells Fargo and many European, Asian, and Canadian banks such as HSBC, BNP, Nomura, BMO also fall into this category. Boutique investment banks usually specialize in a few types of transactions such as M&A, advisory, restructuring, or LBOs. Deal teams are usually smaller, so you will possibly have more responsibilities and complete more technical works that requires a lot of thinking. So recruiting is super accelerated. As you can see, pretty much you need to recruit for your third year school internship in the summer of your second year. So let's take this example for summer 2023 analysts. Please note that the timeline varies by firms and locations. So starting from March, diversity programs normally open, and then in June, basically many recruitings or begins. In July and August 2021, you will be doing interviews, and first wave of offers will be extended. Around September and November, there will be more super days, and then recruiting will wrap up. So you'll begin your internship in June 2022. Ideally, you will get return offer in the following summer, and then in May 2023, you begin to work full-time. So the third year internships lead directly to full-time offers, but without an internship, your chance of winning a full-time role will be slim. Now we are going to talk about recruiting tips. First of all, resume is very important. We have 4 main sessions. Header, which is your name and contact info. And education counts roughly 40% in this document. GPA 3.2 is normally the cutoff point, but some banks are higher and some doesn't have a requirement like this. So make sure to check their own requirement. You don't need to list your high school experience, but you may want to list your SAT score if they're outstanding, such as 1400 in the old system or 2100 in the new system. And your work and leadership experience counts around 50% in this resume. So you want to list 2 or 3 relevant experience, which is finance related, such as your work in a private equity firm, wealth management, corporate banking, valuations in the big 4 accounting firms, or other corporate finance roles. These are the evidence that you are super into investment banking, this industry. And of course, if you have big names in your resume, that would add more credibility. Make sure to also list your leadership experience in student organizations and other extracurricular activities. When you are writing your experience, make sure to use numbers to describe the impact. And then you want to also demonstrate you're familiar with Excel financial modeling and you have some experience interacting with clients. For additional information, skills, activity, and interests, make sure to list those meaningful items, such as your foreign language, your technical skills, such as Python. And then when you're writing your interests, make sure to write down a little more information to trigger some small talks. For example, you don't just write running. You may want to write, I've completed marathons in 10 different countries. Once you have a good story and the right experience and a solid resume, you may start to network for investment banking roles. This is super important as you'll be spending more time with your colleagues than your friends and family. So who to contact? You want to start with analysts and associates because they can tell you the everyday life. You can also talk to VPs and MDs as they usually decide who to hire. You don't need to contact a recruiter as they want to remain consistent with communicating with candidates. So you start reaching out about 1 to 3 months ahead of recruiting. You normally start with sending a LinkedIn connection request, right? You start with writing a personalized information about why you are reaching out. Remember to keep it short. You can also try cold call emails using the templates you can find online. Make sure to expect about 5 to 20% response rate. Try to send out as many as possible. Then you are going to move to this next stage about conducting coffee chats and informational interview. When you are doing this talk, you can certainly ask for their job, background, relevant deal experience, but I would suggest not too many work-related questions as you would like to build connection, get to know the other person. Also, try to make sure that you show your humanity. As an analyst, you will be mostly doing some groundwork, such as formatting presentations, not negotiating deals. And then after your talk, you want to follow up. This is super important, and most people don't do this. When you first send out the initial email, you want to wait about a week to check back and follow up. And if you do get a response, make sure to reply within 24 hours. And after talking to them, you want to also follow up by sending a simple update once 3 to 4 weeks about how you actually behave, and then take their advice into actions. Finally, it's the interview. You normally start with higher view, which is a technology that you use to record your answers to questions with the laptop camera. So they are normally going to be fit questions. Then is the first round interview, normally done through phone or video. So in a first round interview, about 10% would be behavioral questions, such as tell me about yourself, why IBD, your strengths and weakness. And about 90% would be technical questions. This is very important. So make sure to be familiar with the accounting concepts, valuation methodologies, M&As, LBOs, etc. Then it was the final interview, which is Super Day. It's normally done in New York or San Francisco office and with multiple interviews. You will go through multiple interviews with 5 or 6 bankers at all levels, ranging from analyst to MD. And then you will be answered questions spanning all the topics above. Normally, analysts and associates would ask you technical questions, and VPs and MDs would ask you behavioral questions to decide if you are a good fit to the team. So this is the essentials of recruiting for investment banking. I hope you find it helpful. If you have further questions, feel free to schedule appointments with me or other counselors on Handshake.